Hi everyone, it's Adam with Milo's Restoration, and today I'm going to be flipping the set of nightstands as well as testing out a new sprayer I bought recently, and it's going to be the cordless Graco sprayer. So I got started by removing the hardware and giving everything a clean. I'm just using a fine pad on a surf prep sander, and it's a foam pad, and I'll just give everything a quick scuff sand, and then I'll move on to priming. I'm going to be using Centurion's vinyl modified primer, and it's a lacquer based primer, and I'm going to thin it a pretty good amount to get it to spray well. I use the little cheap HVLP turbine guns from Harbor Freight for this, and they work good. They just have a 1.3 in them, and I just thin it until it sprays well. Can't tell you how much I put. But also, if you're going to do this at home, you need to be safe with using that much thinner in there because that's going to raise VOC content significantly. But I've got pretty good ventilation in here. So I finished that up and moved on to masking the drawers off. And this is how I do it. I just use 24-inch plastic from Sherwin-Williams pre-taped, and then I just start spraying. So I try to use just 2 coats of primer. I'll sand in between with a fine pad, and I try not to burn the corners as much as I can, especially on the final coat. So this is the final coat, and what you're seeing, that red stuff there, is Bondo glazing putty, and I use that to fill little nicks and dings in between coats of primer. So, new to me sprayer, it's a TC Cordless Ultra, and it's going to be set around probably 9 or 10 pressure setting. I don't know what that means, honestly. Can't tell you what that translates into in fluid pressure. But yeah, it's a cordless airless. And while I'm waiting on my lacquer to get here, I get it delivered to my shop. I'm going to set the hardware and barkeeper's friend. So this is the Hague Blue Centurion 1K product, and it's got the new base. It's like they reformulated it to where it has less problems with the edge retention, and I was really impressed with it. But on the other hand, I was a little bit less than impressed with this sprayer just in using it and passing, and it really it spits. And the problem is that whenever you're trying to spray small pieces like this with a lot of angles, it just is really not very hospitable to that, because you have to start and stop off the piece, which you don't have to do that with an HVLP because you won't get any spits from an HVLP. But that's not a unique problem to this sprayer necessarily. That's a problem with all airlesses. And I tried a lot of different things to get it to stop spitting, but I just couldn't figure it out. So eventually I just decided that for my final coat, I'm just going to go back to my HVLP. But the thing that I like about this is the finish is really good. And I could see for like chalk paints and thicker paints like that, I would definitely be using this sprayer. Yeah, I think if you could figure out the little spitting issue, and I tried changing out the seals, and all that kind of stuff, messing with the fluid pressure. But I think some spray guns, especially on the cheaper ends, they just spit. And that's not something that you can really change unless you go to like a fine finish pump. And you're not going to get one of those in a handheld spray gun. For the hardware, I was pretty happy with the first one, but then I got to the second and third one, and they had spots where it was clearly not real brass or something, and it had taken off kind of pieces of the plating, so we're going to have to paint that. So the second coat with the HVLP, I used a 1.8 needle, 10% water in the Centurion, and it worked out a lot better for me. The finish wasn't necessarily any better, but it was just easier to use. So please pardon my half completed staging wall back there. But yeah, I put the hardware back on and got everything staged up to take some pictures. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And thanks for watching.